If you have ever felt like your brain just stopped making sense after a stroke, you are not broken. You are a city under construction. Welcome. Welcome to Neuroplasticity City. This is where we learn what happened to your brain, why recovery takes time, and why every single thing your care team tells you, the therapy, the rest, the food, the sleep, actually works. This city is your brain. And today, we are taking the full tour. What is neuroplasticity? The name sounds complicated. It is not. Neuro means brain. Plasticity means the ability to change. Neuroplasticity. City is always growing, always adapting, always finding a new way forward. The population sign out front does not have a fixed number. It just says growing. That is not decoration. That is biology. What happened during the stroke? Now, let's talk about what happened the day the city went dark. A stroke is not a brain that gave up. A stroke is a traffic emergency. Your brain runs on three things: oxygen, fuel, which is glucose, your blood sugar, and a clean system to remove waste. All three of those travel through your blood. When the blood stops reaching part of the brain, even for a few minutes, the lights go out in that neighborhood. The residents cannot work. The streets go quiet. That is a stroke. Two kinds of strokes. There are two ways the blood stops flowing. The first is ischemic. That is when a blockage forms in the road, a clot, a narrowing. Traffic cannot get through. This is the most common kind. The second is hemorrhagic. That is when a blood vessel breaks. Instead of a blockage, now there is flooding. The surrounding neighborhoods take damage from the pressure. Two different emergencies, same result. Part of the city loses its power supply. Left side vs. right side. Here is something people do not always know. The left side of the brain and the right side of the brain do not do the same job. For most people, the left side handles much of language changes how you see the world. Finding words, understanding what people say to you. If your stroke happened on the left side, that is why communication may feel harder right now. The right side often helps with spatial awareness, attention, body awareness, visual scanning, processing if your stroke was on the right. That is why certain movements, perceptions, or awareness may have shifted. One city, two sides, each one running its own districts. The four boroughs neuroplasticity. City has four boroughs. Every borough has a job, and every borough depends on the others. Temporal borough sits on the left bank. This is where language lives. The language cafe is here. Memory lane runs right through it. If you have aphasia, this is the borough where the roads got hit hardest. The translation tools went offline. The signage became unreadable, but the borough is still there. The streets are still there. Frontal borough sits to the north. This is the administrative hub, executive function boulevard, planning, focus, initiating movement. When the stroke hit here, it felt like the blueprints disappeared. Decisions took longer. Getting started felt impossible. That is not weakness. That is a borough working without its full power supply. Parietal borough sits to the east. This is your body map. Sensation, spatial awareness, physical coordination, movement way, and coordination court are here. When this borough takes a hit, movement feels unfamiliar. Your body is sending signals, but the processing center is rerouting. Occipital borough sits to the south. This is the vision center. Vision view, the observation deck. When the supply lines here were disrupted, the city felt like it was covered in fog. Visual processing slowed down. Things looked different than they used to. 4 boroughs, all connected, all essential. The brainstem. And before we cross the bridges, we have to talk about the city's central station. In the NPC, we call it Fairmount Stem Park. The brainstem is not one of the 4 boroughs. It is deeper than that. It is the control center that keeps the basics running. Breathing rhythm, heart rate, swallowing, alertness, balance, wakefulness. The systems your body depends on before you even think about them. If the boroughs are the neighborhoods, the brainstem is the power station and emergency operations center. When a stroke affects this area, the changes can be serious because the brainstem helps keep the whole city online. That is why stroke care teams pay close attention to breathing, swallowing, alertness, walking balance, and safety. They are not being dramatic. They are checking whether the central station is stable. The bridges, the boroughs, do not run themselves. They depend on supply routes coming across the river from upstream county, where the heart pump house keeps the blood moving. There are 4 major bridges. Each one feeds the city. The Ben Franklin Bridge is the language route. It feeds temporal borough. When cholesterol builds up or blood sugar stays high, this bridge gets congested. Communication slows before a stroke even happens. The Commodore Barry Bridge is the memory and learning route. It also supports temporal borough because language and memory live close together. When this route takes damage, recalling information may take more time and more practice. The memory is not always gone. The road to reach it just needs rebuilding. The Tacony Palmyra Bridge is the movement and sensation route. It feeds parietal borough. When a lane closes here, movement requires more effort, more intention, more time. The Walt Whitman Bridge is the executive route. It fuels the frontal borough. High blood pressure puts too much force on these pipes. When the damage happens here, planning and focus need detours for a while. Inside the city, there is also an internal connector. The Neural Pathway Bridge. It does not cross the river. It connects the boroughs to each other. This bridge is why recovery in one area can help another. The city is always in communication with itself. Why therapy works. Here is the part that matters most. The city does not stay broken. Dead brain tissue does not come back. That part is true. But the living city, the parts that survived, are already drawing a new map. That is what therapy does. Every repetition in speech therapy is a work order. You are telling the city, build this road. Every session with your physical therapist is a construction crew showing up. Every time you practice something hard, a new route gets a little more solid. The brain is looking for new streets. Healthy regions that never handled a specific task can be rezoned to take it on. The right side of the city can sometimes pick up work that used to belong to the left. But the construction crews need you to show up. Why rest matters. And here is something people skip over: rest is not optional, rest is construction time. While you sleep, the city is paving the dirt roads into highways. The new connections you practice during the day get consolidated at night. They get stronger, they get faster. If you skip the rest, the construction crews lose their shift. Sleep is not recovery time away from healing. Sleep is where the healing happens. Why nutrition matters. The supply chain keeps this city alive. What you eat either fuels the construction or slows it down. Anti inflammatory foods keep the roads clear. Hydration keeps the systems moving. Blood sugar management protects the bridges before and after damage. You are not eating for comfort right now. You are feeding a city that is actively rebuilding itself. Here are a few things worth knowing. The brain can form new connections at any age. Neuroplasticity does not have an expiration date. Recovery is not linear. Research continues to show that meaningful recovery can happen months and even years after a stroke. You do not have to understand everything right now. You just have to keep showing up. As night falls over Neuroplasticity City, something happens. The boroughs glow. Amber for language and memory in temporal borough. Purple for executive function in frontal borough. Gold for sensation and body mapping in parietal borough. Deep blue light across occipital borough, vision and visual processing. The neural pathway bridge pulses with light, connecting everything borough to borough, proving the city is never finished and never truly silent. From above, this city looks like exactly what it is: a living thing, still working, still building, still here. A stroke changed the map. It did not end the city. Recover, rediscover, reroute, rebuild. Welcome to Neuroplasticity City. Until next time, take care of your brain, take care of your body, and take care of each other.